Hello YouTube, and welcome to episode 3 of season 9 of Tomorrow's Talk Today, a talk show produced by COM 445, the digital storytelling class. I'm your host, Michaela Moxie, and today I am joined by my classmates and panelists, Haley Villapondo, Elijah Tucker, and Lauren Pallas. On today's episode, we'll be discussing the idea of short-form media content on the internet, how viewers and consumers have been affected by it, and its general pros and cons. Our guests today have watched and analyzed a plethora of videos and written work on the topic, including YouTube breakdowns, scholarly articles, and interviews. To begin our discussion, let's take a quick look at a compilation that shows some of the earliest examples of short-form media content, Vine.
Oh my god. Oh my god, he on X Games mode.
I wish that I could be like the cool kids, I'm in my mum's car. Broom, broom. Get out my car. Aww.
Look at this graph.
I want a church girl that go to church and read your Bible.
Iridocyclitis.
It's the 4th of July. Yeah, we know it's true. The colors of the flag are red, white, and blue. Hey!
I'm John Cena!
Stop! I could have dropped my croissant. This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. It's watermelon. Inside a watermelon.
Well, as you can see from that compilation of Vines, Vine was able to emerge itself as a new social media platform that allowed anybody to become viral. Now, let's talk about how this specific video platform paved the way for other short-form media platforms such as TikTok and YouTube Shorts to become as popular as they are today. Haley, can you give us an example of somebody who ended up becoming a Vine celebrity? How do you think they were able to make that happen?
So a Vine celebrity that comes to mind for me is Liza Koshy, because she started off on Vine and then later moved to YouTube and then became like an actress and then also interviewing celebrities on the red carpet. And I think she was able to do this because of how popular Vine was, and most of her videos were on Vine compilations as well, to lead her up to this moment and allow her to transfer over to YouTube for her audience to follow her over.
I agree, I love her new content. Elijah, from what you can remember about the platform, what did the majority of videos on Vine typically consist of? Do you think they were trying to accomplish anything?
For me, when I was watching Vine, I would say that I watched a lot of like comedy skits and a lot of I guess athletic videos, like sports videos. But other than that, I would say that what they were trying to get across was, entertainment and just trying to be funny, and yeah.
Completely agree. Lauren, would you say that there's a major difference in the type of quality that is present for viewers on Vine compared to like TikTok?
100%. I definitely think that there's two different types of quality. You have the camera quality that has obviously advanced over the years, but we've also changed the quality of the content we put out onto social media, whereas on Vine, it caught just the small moments. TikTok, you put a lot more time into each of those videos.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's so interesting how like TikTok and Vine has like shaped us today and all that. So Haley, how do you think watching Vine in the media, has it affected how you now consume content and what you watch?
I think it does affect how I now consume media, especially because like I remember when I was a lot younger, like I was able to sit through maybe like a 20-minute YouTube video, and now I can barely go through like 1 minute without putting on like 1.5x speed sometimes, or like I can't sit through a whole TikTok video where it's like 5 minutes plus long, because you always assume it's going to be like 30 seconds or less.
I have to say I'm becoming that way. Has it affected how you consume media now?
I wouldn't say so, because I'll sit there and watch the whole video. Like if I'm interested in something and like it's entertaining, I'll sit there, it doesn't matter how long. So I'll watch it for 5 minutes, 30 seconds, a minute. So yeah, it don't matter to me.
What about you, Lauren?
A whole Barbie movie has came up on my TikTok and I stopped and watched the whole thing. So that's definitely.
That's iconic, actually.
I would also say like in some of the TikToks, like you know how you have like the part ones, and then like you gotta click the profile and go to part two. If there's like 5 parts and the first part I watched was interesting, I'm going to find every other part and watch it.
I do the same thing. I will watch a whole movie on TikTok.
Exactly.
So thank you all. You all bring up some very good points about Vine and how it stood as a short-form video platform. We have to take a quick break, but we'll be right back, so stay tuned.
The motto of the department for years has been, we make the world through words.
All the professors are very supportive. I know that I can go with them with any questions about anything.
They're amazing and they're genius, and you would be amazed at the things that they've done and the places they've been and the things that they know.
You gain really neat skills that can take you in a whole range of directions, and it really allows you to have a wide array of possibilities when you leave Longwood. Teachers are very creative in how they teach, and we try to teach creative approaches to problem solving. So in our writing classes, often you will do things like build Legos and then have to describe how you did it so that you learn how to write instructions that other people can read. We talk about great ideas, and so classes are just really fun to sit around and talk about the meaning of life and talk about what's super important in the world today.
There is a level of being able to sit down and just listen that is required to be able to do that work well. And with that, listening means being sensitive to people's backgrounds. We make the world through words, through those sensitivities, and coming together as an English community. You learn how to put your best effort into something to get the best back from it. I started out wanting to write books, and now I'm working with the athletics department, working with ESPN.
I had dropped out for financial reasons, and while I was sitting at home just working, trying to make some money, I got an email from an English professor, Dr. Hetty. It was a deeply personal moment, but it really did feel like the English department cared about me and about the students.
Welcome back. Next, we are going to be focusing on consuming short-form content versus creating short-form content. We have a clip from Jeff Seville on YouTube who discussed the pros and the cons of creating content on social media versus consuming.
Why do we choose to consume more than we create? Well, for one, consumption is a low-risk activity. By not creating, you don't fail or risk the chance of receiving destructive criticism. It's comfortable, but as you can see, there's no growth. And if we're not careful, allowing consumption and comfort to cohabitate for too long can turn consumption into addiction. Now, creation is a high-risk activity. It can lead to failure or receiving destructive criticism. But producing and creating is where satisfaction and fulfillment is found. And ultimately, failure is the best teacher.
Wow, who knew that someone's life could drastically change for better or for worse if they decide to become a content creator? Let's take it over to Elijah. Why do you think so many people have resorted to content creation as their full-time career? Do you think it's easier or harder than many other careers?
I wouldn't say it's easier. I would say that it's a trend now. I would say that it's something that young people can do and it not feel like a job. I think it's fun. It's easy in a way to like set up. You don't need a lot of things. You really just need to have a personality and be yourself. So I think a lot of people are doing it because they see other people doing it. And they see how successful they're being while doing it, and seeing how much money they're bringing in, and just how the endorsements are coming in with that as well. And they're also, for the streamers, they're bringing it to YouTube, and now they're uploading their YouTube videos from the live stream. So I feel like that's another source of revenue and income. So I feel like the more that they do that, the more people stream, the more people are going to want to do it as well. So
I completely agree. We've seen that decrease in like engagement from people that watch just like Instagram and TikTok. But I definitely think like YouTube and streaming and podcasts have definitely like given engagement back to viewers. People want to sit down and watch those like hour, 2 hour streams or podcasts. So I definitely think so. With the rise of platforms such as TikTok, we are seeing truly the idea of anyone can become internet famous being put to good use, whether it be to entertain the masses or to spread awareness on hot topics that are not being discussed as much as they should. This kind of short form media has proven itself to be an effective way for anyone to get noticed, and it poses itself to be the future of social media as a whole. To bounce off of that, do you believe that many consumers run into challenges when attempting to become popular on platforms such as YouTube and TikTok? Would you say it's something that really comes naturally or something that requires a great amount of effort, Lauren?
I definitely think that it requires a lot of effort to be able to get big on social media, because I genuinely think that the algorithm plays a big part, and if you're able to get to the people that want to view your content, that is going to be your biggest availability, and making sure that you can kind of expand yourself to be able to cover every single part that everyone wants to see. So it definitely has its downside of growing big also, because in a lot of ways sometimes to get that big you have to change yourself to fit the perception of what online likes as the standard it girl or whoever is going to be the next person. So I definitely think that there's a downside to being famous, but I definitely think it is extremely hard to get there, because you're battling a million other people who are trying to do the exact same thing you are.
I agree. I do think it's very important for influencers to use their platforms responsibly, to not promote like negative anything. They should always like post positive things to help their viewers. Haley, do you believe that people going into content creation should try to stick to a winning formula, or should they try to develop their own unique style and work with what they know?
I personally believe they should just work with their own, because like what we mentioned earlier, like how personality always gets you so far compared to like trying to fit into an algorithm, just because it's like you don't want to be compared to like the other thousands, millions of people that are on TikTok or all these other short form platforms. And I think that just being yourself too can get you further compared to other people just trying to put on a persona.
It's very interesting. Elijah, what kind of content do you create, and does it make you happy, sad?
I mean, I don't create a lot of content, but the content that I do create, I would say it makes me happy. I do like some TikTok trends, like, the dancing videos. But I mean, on Instagram, I just post like my basketball pictures or just outfits in general. But yeah, I would say that most of the content I post is definitely positive. I definitely try to stay away from negatively putting stuff out there on social media.
Do you check your engagement, like your likes, reposts, comments? Are you looking for that?
I mean, no. I mean, I look at it, but I'm not really like, I'm not like, oh, I didn't get 500 likes on this one. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't care about likes or anything like that. But I mean, I just look at it just to see who is liking it, not how many likes I'm getting.
And what kind of content are you guys making?
I have to say, for me, definitely on TikTok, it is my random moments that I just am bored and want to do something. And so my TikTok is filled with just like a lot of games, or just me and my roommate doing something, or it could go to a cooking video. So it's pretty much all over the place on TikTok, but my Instagram, I keep that very like to a certain picture, and I don't veer from that picture, and I use that as if someone is going to Google my name, that account is going to be the first one that's coming up either way. So I definitely want to make sure that that is always presented very well, and I'll never post stories or things that can even hint controversial.
It's a very good point that like Instagram is much more like professional now compared to our TikTok accounts. It's a very good point. Haley, what kind of content are you posting?
So I post a lot more on Instagram than I do on TikTok. But on Instagram, I post a lot more of like my fraternity stuff or me with my friends, because it's more of like A, helping trying to promote it, and then B, it's just me hanging out with my friends is how I see it, and not like how other Greek lives might do it, being like, I have to post on this day because XYZ. I'm just doing it because it's for fun, and I'm like, I'm enjoying the moment kind of thing.
Interesting. And do you look at your engagement?
Not at all.
I can't say I look at my engagement much either. I definitely think for myself, I post much more like, I don't want to say venti posts, but I feel like I can be my actual self on TikTok compared to Instagram.
Yeah.
And I feel like Instagram, I post much more like, I did this and show it off kind of thing, more than like my everyday kind of life. Thank you. I think we can all agree there's a lot to consider here. Don't tune out just yet. We'll be right back to discuss the overall effects of using social media as everyday consumers.
Rugby is power. From the scrum, to lineouts, to tackling, it promotes determination and rewards hard work.
Rugby is acceptance of any and every body type.
Rugby is teamwork. It is building a family and supporting them no matter what.
When we step onto the pitch, nothing else matters except for the game that we love.
Rugby is power. Power for women, power for the team, power for Longwood.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end of our discussion. Today, let's take a quick look at a clip from the Washington Post that talks about how dopamine is specifically designed to make you feel overwhelmingly positive emotions when you watch certain online content.
The brain controls thought, memory, emotion, along with all the 5 senses and every process that regulates our body. All those tasks are performed by pathways, where the brain sends messages to the nervous system and the nervous system sends messages back. We'll focus on the brain's reward system. Here is where dopamine is mostly produced, a type of neurotransmitter also called a feel-good hormone. That is sent to 4 pathways. One of those is the mesolimbic dopamine pathway, which is connected to the amygdala and the hippocampus. The first processes emotion, while the latter is essential for learning and memory. Too much or too little dopamine affects how we learn, get motivated, our mood, attention, our heart rate, and many other behaviors and physical functions. And this is where studies show the addictiveness of social media.
Many of us often seek out certain types of videos on the internet to either laugh, cry, or everything in between. But at the same time, we often catch ourselves doom scrolling on these same apps, which often does not result in the same overwhelmingly feeling of happiness. Lauren, is there a specific type of short form video that you turn to that you know will release a certain amount of dopamine?
Personally, for me, it is definitely Instagram Reels. Whenever I go to my For You page, like search bar on Instagram, it is food and recipes, and that is my happy place. So when I'm cooking, that is when I'm at my just calmness. And being able to have my entire For You page full of like different cuisines and everything, that is my dopamine right there. Like I go to that page every single time I need it.
I see recipes all the time and I'm like, okay, I need to make that one. Elijah, do you find yourself less happy when you are mindlessly doom scrolling on an app like TikTok? Why do you think that might be?
Honestly, I don't think I found myself like less happy. I mean, I'll just say like I'm just bored. I'm scrolling, but yeah, I do feel like it just kind of is like a black hole type of thing, where like if you just like in the morning when I wake up, like I'll just start scrolling, and before I know it, 15 minutes went by. I'm like, uh-oh, that's not good. So I mean, other than that, I just feel like you just shouldn't like get caught up into just mindlessly doom scrolling. But,
yeah, I can say like when TikTok was banned and you couldn't like use the app, I would like mindlessly click the app over and over again. I'm like,
exactly.
Dang. And it's so interesting because like on average, like Americans pick up their phones 2,600 times a day just to pick it up and look, which is crazy. I don't feel like I touch my phone that much. Haley, do you think there are any ways that we as consumers can prevent ourselves from doom scrolling for too long? What do you think they could be?
I think you can either start off with just deleting the app or limiting your screen time. And then just because it can affect your sleep schedule as well because you're doom scrolling for so long, you could also give yourself like a timer being like, oh, I'll only be here for like 10 minutes and then I gotta actually do work. Or pick up a new hobby that's not scrolling for so long, like arts and crafts or journaling and all that, or reading and writing.
I'm definitely the type of person to procrastinate on my phone instead of doing homework. Lauren, do you think media today has taken away the authenticity of social media compared to the Vine days?
100%. I definitely think that we have made it so we all want to conform into this picture, and it's a picture of societal expectations, and that's something that has changed for a serious negative fact. And whereas on Vine, when it first started, as we saw earlier in that complication, it was just funny. It was someone scaring their friend around a corner and getting their response. It was the raw. Where now we have access to retouching, we have access to filters, we have access to making your teeth just a little bit whiter, and it's all a facade. So we really did take out that authenticity of those, and it's gotten to the point where now we can even do that within videos. So it's not just pictures, it's within normal videos. We're adjusting how people look, what people say, and how they act. So really, it has just changed like the societal expectation of social media in general.
I completely agree. Overall, as comm students, what has it been like watching media evolve the way it has? Do you think it had any impact on our upbringing?
I would say yes, it definitely did, and you can kind of see how we were able to grow with it. Like when we were sitting here watching it, everyone was giggling at those vines that were happening because it was like little pieces of our childhood that we remembered, but necessarily we don't do anymore. And it's all because of how the media has changed. And don't get me wrong, especially as a comm major, it's changed greatly for us. I mean, it's opened up a lot of doors for jobs and employment, but it also has a lot of negative downfalls.
What do you think?
I think we became doing social media or like short form content to be more produced now compared to like our original like 6 seconds of genuine videos. And I think as a comm student, like it has helped with like other skills such as editing and along with like writing a script out too. But again, I feel like it might be hard for these job openings because of social media, because some people might doubt it, being like, how long is this gonna last or what is gonna change next? It's just a what if situation.
That's so true, especially with like the rise of AI and social media content. Like I know all of our professors are like, don't use AI, don't use AI. But with it so prevalent in the media, it's like, how could you not? Whether it's like to make funny SpongeBob covers of songs, or it's to edit photos to make them look better, or create art. There's just so many ways to use it, and it's so confusing in today's climate as a communication student, whether you can use it or not. Elijah, what do you think?
I think that the media has impacted me positively, especially as a comm student. I've learned, like, before this, my major was not communication, so I didn't really know too much about the media. But what I've learned so far is just like how to edit, just the basics of how to use a camera, which is harder than you think. But there's also like negative things that come with the media. I think a lot of stuff that people post negatively can impact a person, and I feel like I've seen a lot of that just in general this year and last year. But yeah, I just say that people need to do a better job at spreading positive messages and stop trying to bring people down. Yeah.
I completely agree. Thank you for that. And thank all of you guys for being here. I'd thank all of you for joining me. This has been quite the discussion, but that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank the panelists for their opinions and everyone behind the scenes for making this program possible. Be sure to subscribe to Longwood Comm Studies on YouTube to get notifications when the next episode is streaming. I'm your host, Michaela Moxie, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching Tomorrow's Talk Today.